right, well, welcome to Casting Point. Once again, we are glad you guys are with us. We have someone to interview today that I'm excited to have here. None other than the notorious, the one and only, the one that can hardly be contained or described with words.
I already moved the camera, Tim.
J.C. Crawford.
You went back into the build-up. I was like, I should have stayed on camera one and then opened it up. And I'm like, I already changed it.
Ah, there we go.
So I've never been introduced like that. That's pretty cool.
Well,
so here's Johnny.
that is true.
Yeah.
Johnny. J.C.
Yeah.
Stands for John Crawford.
You mean your name's not J.C. Crawford?
No.
John Crawford?
John Crawford. Yeah.
Yeah.
John Robert Crawford. So my actual initials are Jerk.
Pretty accurate.
Oh, thanks.
And behind the microphone, running the buttons, pushing the faders,
It's me.
making sure that this thing looks fabulous,
About as fabulous as you can get it without a Joey.
is our one and only Matt Parker,
Howdy.
otherwise known as Matthew Parker.
Afternoon, Matt. Love you, brother.
Thanks, JC.
So we're excited to have JC with us today, and we're going to talk with JC about some of his life. And interestingly enough, and we're going to get this later, he is not only an elder, a leader here at the church, but he's also currently on staff, newly on staff, actually.
Absolutely. And I'm the eldest elder now.
You technically are the eldest elder,
Yes.
but you still don't get away from Nancy.
No, I can't get away from Nancy. Nancy's for you guys out there, that might be a long story.
It is a long story,
Nancy's part of who you are now.
but it's just part of your character.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't escape that.
No.
And he wears it well,
Yep.
especially at night. But anyway, I digress. JC has been part of what once was North Point Community Christian Church, North Point Church, and now the Point Church. And you have actually technically been here longer than I and my family. So
I've technically been here longer than most
yeah,
that are here right now.
Right.
Not the Clausens,
right.
because they were my first small group.
Yeah. Tough to beat the Clausens. They've been here for a long time, but,
Yeah.
but that's part of your story. We'll probably get into that
Yeah.
here in a little bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So JC was born and raised in Chicago. He's one of the Chicagoites.
Yeah. Chicago Crawfords.
Stayed there till what, like your sophomore year in high school, and then moved out to Wonder Mud, Creek,
Illinois.
Wonder
Yep.
Lake,
Yep.
wherever it is.
Yep. Wonder Lake.
Nice.
Yeah. It was a little community, and everybody knew everybody else and talked about everybody else.
Right? Never experienced that in my life.
I was about to say, it kind of sounds like here.
Right?
Yeah, right?
Oh, but JC has a tremendous upbringing with some interesting stories and whatnot. But we take it right up to his senior year where he graduated. And then a few months after graduation, you decided that it was time to spread your wings,
Spread my wings.
live on your own.
Yep.
You got this. I got this.
Yep.
And you moved to
Arizona.
Arizona.
We were losing a lot of people to Arizona for a while there, weren't we?
Yeah, we did. Myself, my family, umpteen other families included. It's the sunshine. It's too dang cold here.
Yeah, I got that.
Something about Arizona.
Yeah.
That should be a song.
Yeah.
We could write it right now.
We could write that. Something about Arizona.
Yeah. So that was a trip in itself. It went real well. I got rich, famous. Okay.
Infamous, maybe.
Maybe infamous. I lie.
You're a liar.
I lie. Yeah, I did not get rich. Matter of fact, I got quite poor.
Yeah.
From poor to poorer.
What happened?
Went out there with my first car, which was a 73 Grand Prix.
Ooh.
I know, right?
Oh.
Yeah, somebody stole it.
Well, who wouldn't?
Right?
Who wouldn't want
Somebody
a
stole it.
73 Grand Prix? I'm sure it was in pristine condition.
Yeah. Well, that was my house.
Yeah?
Yeah, I lived in it.
So somebody stole.
Somebody stole my
Not
house.
too many people can say that. Somebody stole my house.
Yeah, it was a
neat.
trip. Yeah, I know.
How long did that take? How long were you out there before your home got stolen?
Only a few months, but 2.5, 3 months.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
So, what were you doing in the great state of Arizona?
Well, bumming stuff from people for a while because I was living in my car, But I did find a job.
Yeah.
And I found a job with actually one of the biggest drywall companies out there, Pete King Drywall, and I worked for them. For I don't know, quite a few months, like 4 or 5.
Quite a few.
Hey, I was young,
The longevity with his track record is impeccable.
It was 17. What do you want, But I learned a lot, honestly. I worked on what they call the lid crew, so I did only ceilings. That was all. And you had to start at 4 o'clock in the morning and then quit at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon because by 1 o'clock in the afternoon, it was like 110 degrees and you're in some place, brand new construction, no AC or oh yeah, it's
hot.
Yeah, it's hot.
Arizona hot.
Yeah, I do remember it was kind of wild. They had these big plastic 55-gallon drums on site all over the place, and they had salt tabs in them. And so it was like 2 salt tabs in a little packet, and every hour you'd go out and grab 2 more salt tabs and drink your water so you didn't because you didn't even know when you were sweating.
Right.
Out there, you were sweating, you didn't even know it. So
Wouldn't beef jerky work just as well?
it would have been a little tastier,
right.
too. It would have a little tastier, too.
Chowing down on some beef jerky and drinking some water.
Mm-hmm.
So you're creating your own sweat boxes.
Yeah.
You're building your own sweat boxes, which is phenomenal.
Real special.
Real special. So, I'm not going to go into much detail on some of the things that you experienced, if you will,
We don't want to put that on air.
when you were in Arizona. But I do know that you chased a lot of life.
I did chase a lot of life.
What some people consider,
I was about to say that's
Life.
a really crude definition for life.
especially on a Christian podcast.
Yeah.
Right?
Not on my
What
Good
is-
Christian podcast.
What is real life?
Yeah.
But you chase things. Maybe I should say of the world.
Oh, yeah.
Things of the world.
Oh, yeah. If you can imagine it, I chased it.
Yeah.
Literally. It was what they call sowing your oats. I don't know if they say that anymore because that's an old term, but I guess
Sowing
they
your
kind of.
royal oats.
My royal oats, yeah. Yeah, there was, yep. So, yeah, I wound up, getting
Homeless.
homeless.
obviously.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
he didn't wind up homeless.
No.
He started homeless.
I started homeless and became homeless-ier.
homeless or
Yeah, because I actually had a home when I got there, on 4 wheels, and then somebody stole it. So,
Mobile home.
yeah, somebody slipped me a Mickey at a bar one night, and I wound up in the hospital getting my stomach pumped. Wound up working at a gas station for a while at night and got robbed, and that was a crazy story right there because I wound up with a gun. We won't go into all that thing, but
you get robbed with a gun.
and I wound up with it.
Yeah, no. How do you get robbed holding a gun?
No, I wasn't holding the gun originally.
Wow. You know what? You're gonna have to tell me about that after this.
Yeah, we got in a scuffle, and yeah.
He talked him out of the gun. Can I have that?
Nah, but
Yeah.
You know what? Let's rob this together.
Well,
Good looking gun. I'll give you the cash out of the cash business if you give me the gun. I like his style.
well, I'm very on the spot. I don't think about sometimes what I do. I just react.
Really, I've
Yeah.
never noticed that.
You've never.
Never noticed that about JC. As a matter of fact, if you ever have a chance to ask him about a bag and a tree, it's one of my favorite stories from JC Crawford.
Yes, there's scars from that still. Look right there.
Yes.
There's still scars on both arms. Not the bag, the tree.
The tree's still scarred for life as well.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Anyway, ask him about that. That's a great story. Maybe we'll get to that at some point. But anyway, back to Arizona. Sowing wild oats, if you will. So where'd that take you? Where'd that end up? I mean, you left the Chicagoland area, you left Illinois, moved to Arizona, sowing some wild oats.
Yeah, I actually
Got
had.
robbed twice, apparently.
Yep. I wound up in jail. Not from that time, but a different time. I mean, there's quite a few stories about that place. One whole year was like a lifetime for most.
Right. Right.
Wait, you were only there for a year?
Yeah.
All of this took. I've heard other stories about you in Arizona.
Yeah.
All of this happened in 1 year.
1 year.
How long were you in jail for?
Well, a few weeks until my bail date, and
So it wasn't even a full year
Yeah.
that he was able to accomplish.
Yeah.
What most people don't accomplish.
in a lifetime. Yep, I know.
I don't know if we want to call it accomplishments, but
No.
experiences.
They definitely,
Alleys in the wall, though.
they definitely were experiences. Yeah. And it's funny when I look back at all these experiences. It's many of them were not good, but
Yeah.
to trade them in, I think would be crazy because it made me who I am today.
Sure.
God has led me through this.
Right.
It's
In the last podcast, we were talking with someone about this very thing, Sarah Martin, and some of the experiences that she went through. And same thing. She says, I don't know if I would be where I'm at today if it wasn't for the experiences that I went through.
Yeah.
Plus, she says, I couldn't see it at the time, but obviously God was with me through all those different things. I might not have been walking with God, but God was definitely walking with me.
oh yeah.
And sometimes that 20/20 hindsight is a lot clearer than
Yep.
right when we're in it.
Yeah. Well, I started pretty young, really, way before that. When I was in high school, my buddy and I would drink before school and then stole his dad's buddy's Corvette, went to school in that till we got caught. And so, I mean, this was, 15? We weren't legal to drive yet.
Right.
So I started pretty young.
So you're in Arizona. The bottom's kind of falling out
Oh, yeah.
to the point where you're just running on empty.
Yeah.
What happens?
Well, I actually called my mom and dad. Believe it or not, called my mom and dad. Said, "Hey, can I come home?
Yeah.
Because this is not working out. It's pretty obvious." And they said, "Yeah, come on home." Well, I moved back home and promptly moved out of their house again into a
Rules and all.
oh well, yeah, the rules, because I'm an adult now.
Right.
Oh, right, because then I was 18.
Well, yeah, you're 18 at this point.
Yep.
Fully capable.
Yep.
Feeling about as legal as can be.
Yeah. Well, and I think they probably said, well, if you're not going to follow the rules, you have to move out. So I didn't willingly,
Right. Right.
of course. And so I moved into a building on the square in Woodstock, Illinois, that was abandoned, and
Wait, okay. Wait.
with 3 other guys.
You're
Is this-
saying that you and a group of other guys moved to Woodstock, Illinois, and lived in an abandoned building?
Yeah.
Abandoned, like how abandoned? Like was plumbing working or like?
Well,
abandoned,
technically,
like-
this is the third time he's been homeless.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no.
Right.
Now he's not homeless now. It's an abandoned building.
Yeah.
It's a home.
Yeah. No, there was actually gas, lights, electric.
Oh, wow.
Oh, so
so
it's
it's
not
an
like-
upgrade.
There was a
Yeah.
store. There was a store downstairs. So
All right.
it's just we snuck in and on the top floor. It was like the 3rd floor.
That's
and
called squatting.
oh well, yeah.
You
Technically,
were a squatter.
technically
So he was
squatting.
a car homeless. He was homeless. Then now he's a squatter.
He's a
Yes,
squatter, yeah.
right. Yeah, that was pretty wild. We had one guy lived with us. He was an incredible artist. I mean, he really was. And so he had a ladder, and he would sit on the ladder, get stoned, and draw comics all over the wall, like stories. And he'd have comic strips.
Oh, wow. Come home every night and read the comics.
yeah,
on
pretty
the wall.
much.
The
Yep.
funnies.
The funnies.
The funnies.
papers.
Yeah,
Oh, that's pretty incredible.
yeah,
And I got to imagine that was pretty incredible stuff from a stoned artist
yeah.
writing comics.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Well, I mean, what else do you do when you're in an abandoned building, basically,
Well, where were you working?
working?
Yeah, were you working?
Well, no.
How is he getting stoned?
Well, you buy and sell.
Yes.
Yeah, it's called dealing.
So you're also a dealer, a squatting dealer.
A squatting dealer, yeah. Yeah. It was just enough to get by.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's all you needed.
That's all I needed.
Right.
Yeah.
So how long did this last? How long did you stay in this abandoned building?
That was probably
Squat.
about another year and a half
Okay.
until we got caught
Right.
again, and then had to move out and thrown out, and we had accumulated furniture that we actually moved in.
Whoa.
Oh, I know.
Whoa.
No, they didn't leave us with that.
Right. I'm going to guess this was curbside.
Yep, pretty
Curbside
much.
furniture.
Yep, curbside thrift store.
JC's
Right.
curbside cleanup.
Somebody
Nice.
leaves it, we take it.
Right. So you're roughly in your 20s. You've got kicked out of your squatter home.
Yep.
Now what?
Let's see. There was a few years in there that I think are gone. Like, I don't remember exactly what happened in those few years. But I did.
Or don't want to
Or-
remember. I get that.
Yeah, or don't want to say.
Repressed memories.
Don't want to say exactly. I did meet my first wife. We got married. And for the sake of my wife now, we'll probably leave most of that story out, even though it was like
I think-
17 years.
I think that's wise.
Yeah.
I know your current wife, and I think that would be wise.
Yeah.
Let's just leave that alone.
No, right.
The old 10-foot pole.
Yeah, exactly. But that's where I got started in auto salvage. My first wife's dad owned Sturtevant Auto Salvage up off of north of 20 on the I, and I worked there for quite a few years and wound up. Put that down there. Tom King is calling me. Is that important?
That guy.
You know we're doing this?
Yeah, right.
Don't forget Tom King.
Go.
You can call him back, though. He's
Oh, yeah.
always available.
Yeah.
Love that guy.
Yep.
So you're in the salvage business now.
Yep.
Started into that business by your father-in-law.
Yeah.
So where did that take you? I mean, where did you start off doing that?
Well, I started off at his place, Sturtevant Auto Salvage, and then
Yeah.
because I was known in the, I mean, that's how I got JC, the nickname, my initials. He was the one that started calling me JC
I see.
way back in my 20s.
I get it.
Yeah, and but I got to know a lot of people in the business, and I was, I guess, I went through every part of the business. You know, did towing and pulling parts and sales and you name it, I did it.
Right.
And so I wound up making the rounds at all the different salvage yards for years. And I guess I was in that business for probably 19 years.
I was going to say a long time.
Yeah.
Long time.
Yeah.
So the salvage business, it was good to you.
It was.
I've heard a few stories coming out of that side of your life as well. I remember one about you picking up a car that was full of bees.
Full of bees.
Oh yeah.
I got stung pretty good. Oh, yeah. I picked it up. It was an old.
Not with his arms, Matt.
No.
He didn't like
no.
Pretty strong
He
guy,
is
though.
strong, but
Yeah. I was actually in the
Mighty
big.
Mouse strong.
No, the forklift. A forklift where the tires are as big as I am. And so this car had nothing left to it. We're just going to take it to the crusher. So I pick it up with these 12-foot long forks, and it's bouncing around. I see 1 bee, and then 5, and then 20, and then it just got black. Well, of course, the doors on the loader are clipped open back, so I can't just reach around, shut them,
Yeah.
keep the bees out. And that's exactly where they headed, was right in the cab with me. And so it was just covered in there, and I finally just jumped out because I was getting stung everywhere. And when I got down to the building, I looked back, and here was the loader because I still had it running, and it was just going over cars.
Didn't quite get that in park when I jumped.
Nope.
Oh my gosh, that is hilarious.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Thankfully, I'm not allergic to them.
At
so
least you were working in salvage and not new car business.
Oh, that would have been rough.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I did know a guy in the business that had owned another salvage yard that used to work on vehicles. You know, people would bring their cars in, want them to get repaired, and so his bays were full up, and this guy really wanted his Cadillac worked on, put a transmission in it, so he decided to blow up a big inner tube, like a loader, forklift inner tube.
Right, big one.
Yeah, and he moved the car over, put the inner tube right next to the car, and took his forks on the loader and just picked it up and held it in place on the inner tube. This guy's car.
Nice. That's ingenuity right there.
Yeah, and he changed the transmission, took it down, and
plopped the car back over, and there you go.
There you go.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's the easy way to get transmission out.
Yeah.
I like it.
We don't need no stinking lift.
So you were in the salvage business. You wrecked several cars doing that.
I had done that.
You wrecked other people. I know this for a fact because I've worked around you.
Yeah.
But then you went into construction, right?
I went into construction. I had been in construction prior to that because my dad, since I was a tyke, he was a fireman, but he also did construction on the side. So he would bring me to the job sites, and he had his own business and taught me what I could learn at that age. But I learned a lot, honestly. And so, yeah, I was in construction for a lot of years too. And that's how I've gotten to this point where I can fix just about anything.
Right. When he says just about, one thing that we want to put as a disclaimer on.
Oh, no.
If you ever have electrical, call anybody.
That's not true.
Anybody besides JC.
That's not true. I can screw in a light bulb with the best of them.
Oh, we had a room here at the church that we were needing some new switches in.
When was this?
Oh, this was only 4 or 5 years ago. I would say.
Yeah, the one right off of the auditorium there.
Yeah, we were needing some new switches. So JC graciously,
stuff.
Yeah, that's the room.
Pantry stuff.
Yeah,
graciously donated his time to come in and set us up with some new switches.
Yep.
The interesting thing is that the lights actually worked.
Yep.
They just never shut off. We could not. I don't care what switch you pushed.
Nope.
How you pushed it. The lights were always on. So we thank you for
you're
the light
welcome. And you know what? The best thing. There's a better part of this. No fires. Because I know Kevin H. I know you're going to talk about some fires to somebody else. I did something. I did some work for Kevin and Shannon Hine.
More electrical work.
So was this before or after you did the lights?
After.
They still asked you.
They did.
I'm beginning to wonder about Kevin and Shannon. Actually, inviting JC over to do electrical after. I
almost burned their house down. It was just a switch.
Right.
So maybe I just have problems with switches.
I heard there was a fireball that was seen by neighbors.
Wait.
No, that was.
Are you lying? Or how big was this fire?
If you go to their house now, you can see an imprint of JC's shadow where the fire went right around him.
He's got to hold up his sarcastic card.
Where's that sign?
Right?
Sarcasm.
Just for the room.
Sarcasm. So you've done a lot of construction. As a matter of fact, again, we've got more JC stories that we could go into. I know that you were literally nailed to the floor one time.
I was nailed to the floor right through my toe, my baby toe.
Right.
Yeah, that was crazy. Honestly, did you hear this one?
Yeah, you told me this story when you were fixing the gate at my house.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So when he was fixing the gate, here's one piece of information. I don't know if I shared this with you. I probably should have, knowing he was coming to work on your house. But anytime that there is a power tool or tool in just general in JC's hands, I always leave at least a 10-foot radius.
He does. Remember in the Scouts?
10-foot.
In Boy Scouts, where they taught you if you had a knife in your hand, it spun around because nobody could be in that.
You should spin around.
That's your personal space.
With a knife in your hand.
That's what they taught me in Boy Scouts.
Get away. Get away.
Maybe that's what the problem was.
Anyway, I leave a 10-foot radius when I'm working around JC with power tools.
Yeah, he does.
I still have scars to this day.
Yeah.
With working with JC.
Yeah.
4 of them, actually.
Yeah. Well, you know how I got off the floor from being nailed to it, right?
Right off.
Pried off with the hammer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Took the hammer, the claw, and dug it under my foot, and my boss pried it off, and then hammered it through my toe, and took the claw and off my instep and pried it out.
It's got to come out somehow.
Yep. And he said, "Time to wrap it up, boys. It's 5 o'clock. Let's go."
Let's go.
That was it.
He says, beer time.
Thanks, boss.
And then, not only that, was he nailed to the floor, then he nailed himself one day, right in the finger, left the nail in his finger.
In the bad one, too.
Right?
Yeah.
Hello.
I've learned not to stick that out anymore. It just gets in the way.
Good.
And what the boss you had, I mean, quite the boss you had that said, okay, you got to drive yourself to the hospital with
He
that
did.
in your finger.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I love that.
To his credit, it was day before Christmas.
I get it.
Everybody had left except 3 of us. And
Christmas
so,
spirit. The
Christmas spirit. Yep.
spirit of giving, helping,
Yeah. Yep.
grace,
Ran a nail right through my
Mercy.
finger. It was 16 pennies sticking
kindness.
out both sides. And so I said, okay. So I get out to my Voyager, Woody Side Voyager van.
Ooh.
I know, those,
Nice.
I know that was
Nothing
nice.
says family vanster
Yep.
like
Absolutely.
wood paneling on the van.
Yeah, I know. Construction, carpenter,
Big guy.
Yeah.
Tough guy.
tough guy.
Manly man van.
And so honestly, I get out there to go to the Ambutol near Crystal Lake where we were. We were out in the boonies. I have a flat tire. Day before Christmas, I'm like Santa.
Well, I'm sure the crew that's left there came and helped you change the tire at least. You got a nail sticking out of your
Oh,
finger.
sure. No, they didn't. No, I had to change that myself.
What?
I had
You changed the tire with a nail in your hand?
I had to change the tire with a nail sticking out of my finger.
And I'm thinking December, it's got to be a little chilly out there.
It was. Yeah, it was about 10 below. It was snowing. Yeah. So I did. I got to the hospital finally, got lost, I had to stop at a gas station, asked the guy with my hand sticking up like this,
Right.
and he freaked out. But I finally got there, and Ruth and Liz, my daughter and my wife, came to see me out there, and Ruth promptly had to run to the bathroom and get sick. And Liz was like, "Oh, let me see that.
Oh, let's
That's
look at that."
awesome."
Oh, so JC has been nailed several times.
Yep. At that point, you asked me, to be like Jesus. This is not what he meant.
Right.
No.
Not those kind of
No.
scars and wounds. So you're in construction, you're working construction, and then you've taken some different turns with careers throughout the years, working for different organizations. You were in your own business there for a while, ran your own construction for a while. And,
Yep.
And then worked for some different companies and even another church. You worked for another church.
Worked for another church.
Maintenance and
Yep.
yeah. So you've done a little bit of everything, experienced a whole lot.
I have.
So in all those life experiences, and we're going to bring it around to this, you've experienced some highs and some lows. You've experienced a lot of the world, and then at that point in your life, did you ever think about God? Was God even a part of your story at that point, or just?
Well, God was, God was somebody that I thought I knew and thought I knew who Jesus was.
Mm-hmm.
In a worldly sense, you get to hear and experience who they are through a worldly sense, and you get a real jaded view of who God and Jesus are.
Right.
And but
I call that barstool theology.
that's
There's
perfect.
some really interesting barstool theology out
Yep.
there. Some of it is spot on, I will say, and others of it is way off the tracks. But
Way off the tracks. Like
Well-
my dad at a bar, and this guy was telling him about how Jesus was a mushroom.
Mm.
Like
Huh.
a bad trip. Yes, there's some crazy barstool theology.
yeah,
out there.
I've heard some really
Is it
really bad barstool.
now?
theology.
Speaking of songs, that sounds like it could be a song. Jesus was a mushroom. I don't know.
It'd be a real heathenistic song.
Oh well, yeah, right. But
You can tell somebody grew up in the 70s.
yeah,
Absolutely. And did a lot of mushrooms.
shh.
Anyway, back to God and your story.
Yeah.
So you had a jaded view, growing up in the home that you grew up in, growing up around people that had a kind of a misconception of who God was, kind of formed or shaped your ideology of who God was.
Yeah.
And so you've been married, divorced.
Yep.
And somehow you got connected to Ruth.
Yeah. We actually worked together while I was married the first time. at a salvage yard, and we just got along. You know, we just hit it off or whatever. And it was much later when we actually got together. I wound up getting divorced. That was a very difficult time in my life. That's never a very good thing or a good thing at all. But it was probably one of the lowest points in my life. You know, I look back and it's like, well, so many things I've done wrong in my life, and now here I've, probably hurt my family and hurting myself. Nothing seems to make sense, and I get this call a few months after I hadn't been divorced yet, but we were going through the separation, and I get this call, and it's Ruth, and she says, "Hey, I just happened to be talking to a mutual friend, Mitch, that we used to work with." I said, "Oh, yeah, how's he doing?" "Oh, he's doing all right, but he says you're getting divorced." I said, "Well, yeah, I am." And she says, "That's crazy. I'm getting divorced too." And wondered if maybe we could get together, And so we did. And that was the start of that. She actually, I was divorced 6 months when we got married. And that was the statute in Wisconsin. You had to be divorced for 6 months before you could remarry. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
But we fell in love pretty quick. And I swore, I told Ruth, I said, "This will never happen. I'm never getting married again. Ever.
Right.
Ever." And so she stopped calling me for a week or two. And then I realized, maybe I miss her.
She's a very persuasive woman.
Yeah, she can be. And so we happened to be, before we were believers, not that you can't be, but I don't know why I said that. But anyway, we happened to be in a bar one night in Kenosha. We've been there. And they got great, the ones you tried to trick me on.
I plead the fifth. I have no idea.
And so anyway, she got down on one knee because we were talking about marriage, and she says, wow, that's, I thought we could talk about getting married tonight. I'm like, well, go ahead. Yeah, we could.
We can always talk about
We could talk about marriage.
Yeah, we can talk about anything.
Right? So she actually got down on one knee and asked me to marry her in the bar. And we knew nobody. And
that's a woman right there.
Right?
That is a woman right there.
She
takes the initiative. I like it. I like it.
And I knew I wasn't going to get another chance like this, so I said yes. Everybody in the bar cheered. It was crazy. So
you better say yes.
Oh yeah. I'd have been wet. Yeah. So God started working on us, and through a friend of, it was McCreary's, which was a friend of Ruth's, long time friend, invited us to come to church one Sunday. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I could use some church,
Right. Who could use a little church in their life?
Who could use a little churching?
Right. Getting ready to get married again. I better get something right with God.
Yeah. And so we started going to North Point when it was still over at the high school.
Yeah.
And we were still going over to the one on 9th Street at the time for other things like Awanas and stuff like that. And we met at the high school, and that's where I went in, and first thing somebody did was hug me.
Whoa.
Right?
Right.
And I'm like, was this like a sign from God?
Why is that? Why would you take a hug as a sign from God? I'm just curious about that.
I have been known to hug people now and then.
Yeah.
I have.
Yeah.
I usually hang on a little bit longer. That's socially acceptable too.
Oh, I know.
So, and guess who was the worship pastor?
Oh, I couldn't guess.
No,
I don't think I could.
no, he might be related to you,
Barry White?
Barry White.
Barry White, my secret relative.
Yeah, Dave Parker.
Ah.
Old daddy.
Old daddy-o.
Oh.
Yep.
The other famous Parker.
Yep. Yeah.
Probably the famous Sir Parker.
Yeah. So, I mean, between somebody hugging me and the incredible worship that was going on, and Dennis was preaching.
Yeah, Dennis
and,
Corley, founding pastor of the church.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, God was pushing me in a direction I had no idea at that point.
Sure.
None. And so we did, at that point, Ruth and I were going out, and we had eventually asked Dennis to marry us. And he said, well, yeah, sure. But I have one condition. And now I fell back on like my old
Here
church,
we go.
my old church
Here
roots. I'm
we
like,
go.
churches, they always got a condition.
Rules,
Like,
laws,
here we go.
regulations. Here we go.
Pull out
Here
the
they-
wallet. You know, it's like, what do you want?
and they're all tags of money.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, what's the condition? And he says, well, I'd want you to join a small group. I said, okay. What else?
What the heck is that?
Yeah, right. I'm like,
What's
and
a small group?
and what else? And he said, that's it. I said, okay, so what is it? Where is it? He said, well, you know, we get together, we have some food, we have some fun, we talk about the Bible, we talk about the stories, we learn a bit. And I said, well, yeah, but we don't really know where to go, you know, from here.
I'm sure he had the perfect
He did.
group for you.
He thought about it for, like all of about 3 seconds. He says, I think probably Monday nights would be the best for you. That would be the best fit for you guys. Oh, okay. Where's that? He says, well, it's over at the Clausen's house, John and Diane Clausen. Give you the address, and you guys can show up 6:30 Monday night, I think it was. I don't remember. I think it was 6:30. It seems like that's the starting time for most Bible studies
Everything.
at night.
Everything in the church, 6:30.
And
Because that's when dinner is. So, right?
yeah.
Food and
What I'm
church.
eating.
And
Food
so
and the church.
And so the first night we were supposed to go, well, I don't know what happened. I don't remember exactly, but like we weren't there on time or just weren't going or whatever. And so we get a call from Edna Corley.
Oh.
She actually called us.
When you want
Here comes the heat.
Yes.
Here comes the heater.
And she's like, are you guys lost? Because I can get you the address again, and you're supposed to be here, you know, a little while ago. Oh, no, we're
That was almost passive aggressive. Almost just straight aggressive.
perfect for the lead pastor.
I said,
Where are you?
no, and I got Ruth on the other line. I'm like, or on the other side of the phone. I'm like, you know, it's like, I
It's the
said,
first lady.
no, we're on our way. Sorry about that. We're just running behind, you know. So I lied. Oh gosh, I feel bad, but
really kicked this off with a bang.
oh yeah. And so we got there, and they had tailored the Bible study right through the Gospels. Everybody in there was a longtime believer, and we were absolutely not. And so after, I don't know, let's see, probably 6 months or something like that, Ruth says to John one night, well, you know, I hear you guys talking about being born again and salvation and all these other, but we've heard that before, but we don't really know what that is. Can you explain that? And John Clausen says, well, how about if you come over Sunday night after church, we'll have some dinner and play some games maybe, and we'll talk about this. Okay, sure. So we did. And we went over there for dinner, and I don't remember if we had dinner or not, be honest with you. It was one of those nights that the only thing I remember is what happened
Yeah.
in my spiritual life. And so John had like a piece of paper, 8.5 by 11, both sides just lined with scripture from Old Testament to New Testament. And he literally went through everything. And at the end of the night, I was broken. I was broken from being broken.
Right.
And Ruth was too. We both were. And I says, oh my gosh, I got to get baptized. I mean, where have I been for 40 years of my life? And Ruth said the same thing. Well, she wasn't 40. She's much younger than I am. So
Much.
She's a decade.
We'll just leave that.
She's a
there.
decade
We're
younger.
Just gonna throw that out there and leave it there.
Yeah. When she watches this later, she'll know exactly. She's a decade younger.
Mm-hmm.
And
Lies.
and so he says, well, let's go over to the church tomorrow night. And so the next night, Monday night, was our small group. So our whole small group showed up. And that was when we were on we went to the church on 9th Street because they had the baptismal
Right.
up behind the
Yeah.
stage, and they had that big window opening, and
Yep.
you walk down into a pool, and
Very official like.
yeah,
Very,
right,
The official baptistry.
yeah. So we got baptized that night, and I mean, from then on, I just got back up just a hair because this is kind of important. We were driving home that night, and I was crying so hard, I had to pull a car over because I thought I was going to die and not go to heaven.
Right.
It was that important. And so we got baptized the next night, and our whole small group was there. I mean, that was probably the best experience that I've ever had in my life, is to see that many people just pulling for us,
Right.
pulling for our lives.
Yeah.
And they gave us our first Bible. It was an NIV. I remember it, NIV study. And Ruth still has it. Actually, that's the one she still uses.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's beat up pretty good, but
Well, that's good. That's a good sign.
yeah. Yeah. And
Well,
so I've
I
been
mean,
running.
that's pretty impactful when you talk about and you think about the fact that there was an emotional attachment, but yet it came through the knowledge of knowing who Jesus was,
Yeah.
knowing your life, knowing who you were, knowing that you were missing out on something that Jesus wanted you to have
Yeah.
all these years, and something else that played into it. Not only was there a good news, but there was something there was fear in there, and I think sometimes we actually miss out on that. That, man, if we don't grasp this free gift, if we don't take a hold of what He wants for us, we could be missing out on eternity with Him, which is a very sorrowful thing, and hell seems like a very bad place
Yeah.
to spend eternity with.
Wouldn't that be good?
It's opposite. And so I loved how you said that there was almost like this fear that, man, if we died tonight, we may not, be there. But, I also think the grace of God, probably at that point,
Oh, yeah.
you understood who Jesus was, and
Yeah.
probably we would have covered a lot. But, man, I love that aspect of just not only the emotional aspect of it, but that emotional drive came from the knowledge of who Jesus Christ was.
Yeah. Well, and
I'd never heard that story. I've known you for a whole 23 of my 24 years.
yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to tell you those stories when I was wiping your butt
Yeah.
as a kid.
It was like yesterday.
Man, was this last week? Again?
Again?
You're gonna come wipe my butt?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
So what a transformation, though. I mean, you think about the transformation that took place. I mean, you guys went in and probably unexpectedly, you're probably just jumping through the hoops to make sure you guys got married,
Oh, yeah.
and then God spoke to you through some amazing people,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah. It was the love.
Diane, Clausen are
Oh.
amazing, number one, but then some of the other people that were there, just,
Yeah.
you can't help but sense the love of Jesus through people like that.
Well, John is a wealth of spiritual knowledge.
Oh, my gosh,
Oh
yeah.
my goodness.
Yeah. But John and Diane both are also a wealth of love
Right.
towards the people that they're drawing near, or to anybody, honestly.
Absolutely.
And it was that love that was combined with the knowledge of God, who God was, that made me realize, God's not a tyrant. He's not like this wrathful, angry God that's just ready to stomp on you because you cussed or something, or whatever, And
Or live the lifestyle that we've lived for 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
Starting in our 20s.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Younger,
I mean,
that drove us. Not only did you drive away from Chicago to Arizona, you can almost see this in all of our stories to some degree, but we drive away from God.
yeah,
We're going to do our own thing. We're going to chase after all these other things that we think are going to bring hope and peace and life and vitality. And a lot of times it just takes us further and further away from God. And 40 years of that until He just reels you back in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that number 40 is kind of a crazy number in the Bible too, isn't it?
Yeah. Tends to be.
It really is. There's a, God really, I mean, I should have been dead I can't tell you how many times. I fell off a ladder at one point doing
200
roofing.
200 foot tall.
200 foot. Yeah. Yeah, that's the story.
The story just gets bigger and bigger every time.
But it was about almost 3 stories, and I didn't die. I didn't break a bone. The bundle of shingles that hit me in the face wiped my mustache off my face. It was like, oh, wipe that smile off your face.
Right.
So, and I'm still here. I've said, and other times, me and challenges. When I was younger, that was me.
Right.
I did any challenge they could make, you could put in front of me, and I should have been dead multiple times. But God, He had to have saved me for this time.
For some purpose.
Yeah.
Such a time as this.
Yes, such a time as this.
So God got a hold of your guys' life, and it's amazing what you and Ruth have done to impact so many other people. Just through your life, how you live, how you teach, the love that you guys show to so many other people. It's amazing, actually, to the point where, I remember when you, and this is where you got your nickname, Nancy, when you came on as one of the elders here at the church. And it was so easy for us to see that in you. I mean, you spent time with the leadership development, but obviously what you exemplify is that life of modeling who Jesus Christ is.
Yeah.
Because of the impact that He's had on your life, and you want other people to see that. And you guys model that so very well, to the point where when Doug, of course, we just interviewed Doug a couple of podcasts ago. If you missed that, go ahead and check that out. If you haven't subscribed, you need to do that so you can go back easy and find those. But anyway, we were talking with Doug, and he's heading to Colorado, and he's retiring, and he left huge shoes to fill here.
Oh yeah.
And we were sitting here going, wow, what are we going to do? I was actually scratching my head, trying to figure out what God was going to do. I trusted God was going to bring the right person at the right time, to fill the right position and shoes. And it was an interesting night.
It was,
sitting around Tom King's porch.
Yep.
At one of our elders meetings, and we just started tossing around different possibilities and ideas. And your name got thrown up.
Whenever somebody says my name, that's what happens. It's like.
But I remember that when we were talking, and all of a sudden the wheel started turning, going. Some of the biggest things that Doug did here when he was here was what I call pastoral care. I'll label it pastoral care, but just caring for people, embracing people, loving on people, finding those felt needs, and encouraging people, and just like that type of personality that is so necessary in the church.
Absolutely.
And I was like, wow, when Doug and Ramona, both of them, because they both just amazing.
Yeah.
When they step away, that's going to be the biggest gap that we have.
Yeah, it's a hole.
It's a hole.
Yeah.
But as soon as your name got brought up, I mean, it was just like, yes, you are that person as well. And so big shoes to fill. Yeah. But I think what God works in you and does through you fills those shoes plus some. There's not a person that knows you who's part of this church, or even not part of this church, that they know you as a person who cares. And you demonstrate that not only through the physical touch. Yes, he is the hugger.
Yeah, it's the hugs. It starts with the hugs at the door.
Some people may say mugging. I'm not sure. Other people say creepy, but I know your heart, and I think most people do know your heart, which is that you just care, and you want people to experience that. I know for a fact that there are people that look forward to your hugs on Sunday morning, because there are people, let's face it, that the only positive physical touch that they receive sometimes is when they walk through the doors of the church.
Yeah.
They're going home to maybe some bad situations, or they have nobody else in their life that will give them that type of positive physical, emotional, spiritual love that you demonstrate. And so we thank you for being here, man.
Oh, I'm just I'm elated to be here. I mean, this has been my home church for a long time, and of course, I've been a pastor for a while,
Right.
but wasn't able to fully put my full force into it because I wasn't always here, and now I am, and it's an incredible thing. So,
and you've got one of the most convoluted, crazy job descriptions, I think.
Absolutely.
well, it fits me.
Of anybody.
It fits me, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely fits me.
So he's doing maintenance work, janitorial work, overseeing those things. He may not necessarily do them all, but that's where we've got so many tremendous volunteers. That
Oh, we
help out. And so he's overseeing all that, as well as doing the pastoral care here at the Point Church. So we're glad that you're with us, man.
Well, Doug was a mentor to me for a long time, and we used to get together off and on. We would get together and just I guess be accountability partners or throw ideas off each other or help each other through some hard times. Right. And so I still have a long way to go to fill Doug's shoes. But
well, you know what?
He's taught me a lot.
You can never really fully fill somebody else's shoes, right? I mean,
I think
God doesn't.
That's not something.
Yeah,
you can.
That's not necessarily God's intent for any of us.
Yeah,
is God shapes us all differently, and so God gives us gifts and talents and abilities and tremendous ways in which we can be empowered by Him to do the work that He's called us to do, and it's never going to look exactly like someone else.
No, no, it shouldn't,
and it shouldn't,
because that's who God made us to be for a specific purpose.
Absolutely.
Every puzzle piece is a new puzzle piece you didn't know that the picture needed.
Yep.
Right. Leave it to the creative.
Yeah, leave it. I got it. Coolest analogies this side of Mississippi.
I know, right?
Yeah. But no, we're glad you're with us. We love you and Ruth. Tremendous help in that. I mean, here's one thing that I love about Ruth is that, number one, she's no nonsense.
Nope.
If you want something straight, go talk to Ruth. She's going to give it to you straight. And number two, her discernment is second to none.
Yeah, it's off the charts.
It's just
I could almost call her a prophetess. I'm going to stop short there, but there's been many times where she has said something, and I'm like, "No, come on." I'm telling you, I feel it's like, sure enough, that's what happens.
Yeah,
it's freaky.
She's a beautiful partner.
Without her, I'd be lost. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Well, you get lost in your bathroom.
I do.
Should we start the navigation stories?
Oh my gosh, those are my favorite. Those are legit my favorite. How far did you get
when you're
before
trying
you
to
realized you were going in the opposite direction?
Central Illinois, going towards Springfield to the little town of Lincoln, Illinois.
Yeah.
He's the navigator. Phil Jones is the driver.
Yep.
And as I remember the story right, it was what city in Michigan?
Benton Harbor.
Benton Harbor, Michigan.
Oh my gosh.
Before they were like, I think we're going the wrong direction.
Yeah, we were driving down to Lincoln Christian College because we were both in the same class. And we got on this. To the Holy Spirit's credit, He led us to Benton Harbor. Mm-hmm. And He must have, for whatever reason. Well, at least there was a talk about the Holy Spirit.
I'm not sure that the Holy Spirit's ever been blamed for going in the wrong direction quite this bad. But
I'm gonna get lightning there, and anyway. So we had a really in-depth talk about the Holy Spirit, God, and everything, and we're driving. And we were going down early the night before because it was going to snow the next morning. We had to leave like 4:00 in the morning. It's like, I don't want to leave at 2. It's just, why don't we just go down tonight, stay there, and we can be early for class at 8:00. We get there. So we're driving, and I look at this sign. I said, Phil, is there a Benton Harbor in Illinois? He's like, there's Benton, Illinois up by us. I said, I swear I just saw a sign that said Benton Harbor. He's like, you're crazy. And like 500 feet later, welcome to Michigan.
Which Here's your sign. But how do you drive through Gary? How do you drive clear through Gary, Indiana? One of the most, it's Gary, Indiana, and you missed it. Missed it.
It was the smell. It was like, where are we?
Phil, is that you?
And it could have been.
And it very well could have been.
Yeah, it could have been. So anyway, yeah. I'm like, I think we got to turn around. He goes, you think?
So I'm glad you took off early to get all that extra rest before class the next day. That was
yeah.
perfect.
Well, who was the first one I called? It was you.
Mm-hmm.
I was you. And Phil was going to kill me because I got to call Tim. He goes, you better not call Tim. I'm just going to leave you right here. Better not call Tim. Hey, Tim. He's like, you're calling Tim? Hey, guess what happened?
And sure enough, man,
Oh my God.
everybody in the church knew about it before the weekend was over.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. And the next weekend at church, I got dissed by the lead pastor, Dennis Corley. He comes up to me, goes, if you're going to be a shepherd, you really need to know where you're leading your sheep. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I'm like, oh my gosh.
What a roast.
Yeah, that was many moons ago, and it's still the story. Still,
It's so fun.
it's still funny.
Fun. All right. Well, we are glad that you guys were able to tune in with us today at Casting Point. If you like what you saw, please go ahead and like and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, please share this with other people. We're actually just building momentum with this. And I think this is number 4? This is only number 4. So, yeah, we're kind of newbies at this, but hopefully you're enjoying the content. And, again, please like, subscribe, and share. JC, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
We'll have you back again.
I love you guys out there, and God bless you. Have a great day.
Matt, thank you for being at the helm, pushing the buttons.
Always a joy.
Always a joy. Well, that's great to know. All right. Well, thank you for watching, and we'll catch you next time.